Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanisms in Copenhagen. Copenhagen is one of these games that I played back at Geekway Mini at the end of January, and I was really delighted by it. It was one of my favorite games there. I consider it a fantastic gateway game. And it has a few things that I want to highlight really quick. A few of them are fairly simple, but I think they're worth mentioning. One is Copenhagen is a tile placement game. You have your own little mat here, you're placing tiles on it. A couple of mechanisms to talk about are related to that tile placement. But one challenge that I found in tile placement games is randomizing the tiles themselves, because with polyomino tiles, you can see them up here, they're all different shapes. And so it's kind of hard to randomize them. Isle of Cats does something interesting where it gives you a giant bag. You kind of reach into the bag and pull them out. And it's fairly random. Other games do different things, but I really like Copenhagen's solution. They just have they have a deck of cards, and at regular intervals you refill the display of cards, and each card shows a group of tiles. So they don't even show just one specific type of tile. It's really hard to see there, but like this card shows the blue tiles, which offer 4 different shapes. So if you pick that card, and as you pay cards, you will pay blue cards to gain a blue tile with squares equal to the number of blue cards that you play. It's just a really elegant system of randomizing tiles. A couple of mechanisms related to tile placement that I really enjoy. So you can see some tiles here that I've built on my little mat. And one of the things that you're trying to do in the game to get points is to complete rows or columns where all the windows, see all these windows here, are lined up. But not all tiles have windows. Like you can see this blue tile here, there are 2 windows, which is great. This one cell of that tile, this one square of that tile doesn't have a window. So the exact orientation of each tile that you place matters based on how those windows are going to line up. So that's really cool. I like that little spatial puzzle. Another element of the spatial puzzle is that by covering up or completing certain rows, so these rows that have this little icon here, or covering up the same icon over here, if you cover that up, that is, if I remember correctly, it has been a little while since I played, but I believe when that happens, you get a bonus tile. You either get one or you get to flip one that you already have. And these are one-time use bonus tiles that flip back and forth, so you can reactivate them. I actually think there's another way to reactivate it using cards. But they are very powerful tiles that let you do things that make you feel good on your turn, make you feel powerful. Things like choose 2 cards, place 2 tiles, things like that instead of just one. So I think that's very satisfying to have this system of completing rows and overlapping shapes tie into some powerful abilities that you can gain during the game. And there's an engine building aspect to it, even though after you use one of these, you have to exhaust it. But your engine, not exactly your engine, but your range of abilities is increasing as you play, which is nice that in a gateway game there is that sense of progression. The last thing I want to highlight is, you can see this was taken at the beginning of the game, but this is a racing game, which is fairly unusual for many gateway Euro games, which are point oriented. I love games that score points, but this is a game where you're actually racing to reach the end of one of these tracks, which are they are points, but if you were the first player to complete the track, the game ends. And so you're gaining points as you play rather than counting them at the end of the game. A little bit like Euphoria, which is not a gateway game. That's one of our games. That's not a gateway game, but this Copenhagen very much is. So I thought that was interesting, that it was a racing game for points. You're racing to a certain point level and then the game ends. So yeah, those are my favorite mechanisms in Copenhagen. If any of these remind you of another game that you'd like to talk about in the comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Or if you have any other thoughts about Copenhagen itself, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that as well. Thanks.